afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for November 27th, 2022, after 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm a lover of reality. When I argue with what is, I lose, but only 100% of the time. Byron Katie. The greatest beauty that we can experience in this human existence is learning how to open up to everything that is happening right here, right now. When we can drop the mind and truly take in the absolute perfection of the universe, we instantly experience how divine everything is exactly as it is. Everywhere we go, we see and feel perfection all around us. This perfection includes all of our perceived imperfections about ourselves and others. It allows all those flaws, weaknesses, and frailties to be there not as annoying mishaps that should be fixed, yet essential ingredients deeply needed on the most intimate levels. It may be hard for us to believe, yet if we think about it, how could the universe create something that is not supposed to be there? The highest experience of reality that we can experience comes by being open to seeing this perfection and surrendering to it. Perhaps by definition, perfection by definition means that no matter what we think, life is always exactly the way it should be. Everything is happening on a divine schedule at the right time and place. Especially if we think things arrive early or late. There's a higher timing behind all actions. And when we feel this and know it's true, we know ourselves to fall into the deepest experience of inner peace inside. Every person, situation, incident, and desire contains this perfection. Every thought form that passes through our minds is needed as much as every grain of sand on the beach is required to make the beach whole and complete. There is nothing missing from life. Each moment is whole and complete in itself. This world is just like a gigantic hologram. If you cut it in half, you will still see the entire full picture. We cannot divide life into parts and say, this part of my life is perfect and this part was not. When the ego likes something and dislikes something else, it thinks that there's something that is missing or is imperfect. This is simply the ego's way of remaining in control of our reality by creating a perspective that makes us feel small and limited to being vast and unlimited. The true heart of all human beings is the lover of what is. Ashanti. Our ego mind is constantly fighting reality. It's trying to change it in favor of some perceived future that looks better, juicier, richer, and more abundant It is in a constant quest to improve what is, keeping reality at bay, and resting the feeling that perfection is in the now moment. Our ego cannot see the beauty of what is because it is not fully present to this now. The ego can only survive by focusing on the future or past storyline, which covers up the divine truth of the present moment. Once you've devoted to its in its place, once you're devoted to being here now and dropping the mind completely in its place, then reality will find you and devour your suffering. Most people spend very little time free from worry and fear and relaxing into the perfection of the here and now. They miss the beauty, the opportunities, and the love that this life is presenting them. When life becomes a relentless search to fulfill the ego's desires, then true bliss and deep peace is never experienced. When life becomes a relentless search to fulfill the ego's desires, then true bliss and deep peace is never experienced. This endless search is what keeps us in a perpetual state of challenge, suffering, and frustration. After many, many, many years of trying to achieve the ego's desires, we might see that there are always more there. When we become wise or frustrated enough, one day we will resign from trying so hard to fulfill our desires. That is the day that inner peace and perhaps enlightenment will find us. We live the perfect process created by the universe, and we do that perfectly whether we realize it or not. To stop this endless search that is bringing us pain is simple. Just remain open and curious about the now moment. Curiosity is our way out of suffering. By turning our attention towards the now moment, we awake from our ego's story and begin to perceive what really is occurring and not what we thought was occurring. There are two very different things. These are two very different things. Simply start by asking yourself, what is the truth about what is happening right now? What am I really seeing? What am I really feeling? Who am I really? Okay? What is the truth about what is happening right now? What am I really seeing? And what am I really feeling? Who am I? Really? Get really curious about what you are perceiving. It takes curiosity to pierce the veils of our ego's illusion. As we ask these questions, the ego mind gets caught up wondering about the truth of the now moment versus judging what is from its very narrow perspective. This loosens the ego's grip on its fantasy stories and allows us to begin to tap deeper into the truth of our being. Everything is perfect in this universe, even our desire to improve it. Wayne Dyer. We naturally awaken to the perfection of the now moment when we tap into that divinity that resides at our core, our God. Our divine infinite nature inherently knows and feels that each experience is perfect. Our divine self does not judge experiences. It just sees them for what they are. Moments in time where we get to play at being human. Moments in time where we all get to play at being human. And remember, we are not the body, we are not the character, we are not the personality, we are not the name, we are not our status. We are the God within, experiencing the physical form. Our infinite divine self believes that all experiences that this universe sends our way are completely and whole simply because they exist. There is no waiting to change what is. There is simply a deep feeling of bliss, thankfulness, and acceptance of what is in all its myriads of forms. Paradoxically, completely acknowledging and accepting the perfection of what is happening in our world dramatically shifts our ability to manifest more abundance and goodies into our lives. When we drop into the perfection of what is, we don't need or even want to change anything about our reality. We see it for its beauty and have no attachment to what is happening. This attitude of complete acceptance and surrender is very expansive. It carries a high vibrational frequency, which in turn manifests back to us matching high frequency experiences. When we see the perfection of the now moment, we automatically begin to create even more abundance in our energy field, since all we see is how amazing our lives already are. As we continue to increase the vibrational frequency of ourselves and the planet, there's a massive transformation. When this civilization finally embraces the fact that it's decided to go within and stay within, that's when you're going to see all the spectacularness of the transition. Some take longer. Remember, I say it's not a race. But some will take longer, maybe a few more lifetimes. Others will step right in. Some have already stepped right in. When we finally realize as a collective that what's out there is only for our entertainment. We're in it, but we're not of it. See what I mean? We can step in it, play with it, experience a little bit here and there, and then step out of it. So we aren't seduced by the ego mind on a daily basis, wanting and wanting and having and wanting and having and wanting and having. And when we eliminate one problem, another one comes right in. And we realize that these are thoughts. They have no power until we give it the power. So all these thoughts, you embrace a thought. There's a cloud, right, going across the sky. You grab the cloud. You jump into the cloud. And these thoughts, fear is a thought. Starts as a thought. And then as the ego mind dictates to the heart mind, we embrace that. We take that fear, which is a thought, and we move it into reality. And we give it attention, and therefore we experience it. If people on this planet were to completely stop watching things, mainstream media, internet, all this stuff, to completely leave it alone and to go within and focus on yourself, you'd be amazed on what would transpire. Our natural state of being is within. Our unnatural state of being is being outside of us. That's why it seems so difficult at times for many of us to traverse this life. And it's a choice. We all can make the choice on our own. I'm going to go within, I'm going to stay within. It doesn't mean that you're going to walk around blind out there in the physical life and bump into things and hurt yourself. It just means that you've decided to watch rather than participate. Big difference. That's why when we move into the now, focus on our breath and move into the now, moment to moment, the ego mind's not there. It doesn't exist. Period. So the more we practice going into the now through our breath, moment to moment, we can watch the ego mind operate. Not judge it, but just watch it. And eventually, the more we stay in the now, the more we begin to master the ego mind. And then the day comes where the ego mind doesn't exist. It isn't something we entertain anymore. And it makes absolute, inexplicable sense to practice being in the now. See, some people say, well, it's boring to be in the now. What is being in the now? Moment to moment. Each moment, you're in that moment for the short period of time. And you go moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. That's our gateway to the gods we are in these bodies. To experience bliss, happiness, joy, peace, even nirvana, do you believe, this is a question you should ask yourself often, that you can find that out there? Sure, we all get, we all experience little spurts of happiness and joy from activity outside of ourselves, but it's so short-lived. Where's the permanency of the bliss, the joy, the happiness, the peace? It's within us. It's within the God that we are. We've all been taught through thousands of years to practice going outside of ourselves, to seek and you shall find. The truth is out there, go find it. And that's all distraction. Some of us come full circle and realize that. See, I'm no longer going to entertain the exterior world. I'm going to entertain the God that I am within me and focus on that. And then see what happens is that all of this subterfuge, all this, you're standing in the middle of this storm and it's just peaceful and quiet and silent. And then you look and you see all this debris and you can't see through the storm. It is so full of debris. And it's just whirling at a horrendous speed. Some of us, even a pinky into the storm will suck us deep into the storm. Even if you were to touch it with your little finger, you'd be absorbed into it. That's our choice. What is our natural state of being? Is it to be in the storm or to watch the storm in total peace, joy, and happiness? These are questions we should be asking ourselves. Because, see, we're so curious that a lot of times we say, well, you know, I've never done that, so I think that's what I'm going to do. And we're always trying to keep ourselves occupied. You ever notice that? Very few of us just sit, focus on our breath, and be. Moment to moment, concentrating on it. Not to say that you're going to stay there any long period of time, because unless you practice it all the time, it's going to take a lot longer time to be there most of the time. Because as we choose to change, in other words, our perspectives, move towards being in the now rather than being out there yesterday and tomorrow, we won't suffer. We won't suffer. There won't be suffering, pain, anxiety, worry, stress, fear when we choose our natural state of being, which is in the now. We've been trained to say, well, you can't live in the now. You got to go in the future. You got to make plans. You got to organize a structure and do this, this, and this. You can't. You've got to be in tomorrow. What are you going to do tomorrow? I don't know. I'm in the now. I don't think tomorrow. I think and feel in the now. And everything just plays out wonderfully well. Have you ever planned something, right? Whatever it may have been. And you took a lot of time planning and orchestrating and laying things out, almost to the point of obsessive, right? Because you wanted everything to go perfect. Okay, I've got this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And then you engage the plan. And none of it works out, because of certain circumstances and things that take place. And so all those plans, all that effort have gone by the wayside, but you enjoyed yourself immensely. Because it just happened to be spur of the moment. Things just started falling in place. And your plans went south, but you said, I don't know how this happened, but this is the best time I've ever had. Doesn't it make sense when we fight the current? We suffer. When we strive and fight the current, grimacing and pulling and wincing and breathing and fighting the current to get to the top. And then those that get to the top find out the top wasn't that great to begin with. Life takes us to wherever destination it may take us. That's the joy of being in these bodies. We don't fight it. Why would we fight it? There's no reason. Because we're told there's this destination, right? You're told that destination, you've got to go upstream. You know, you've got to get these paddles and these oars in there, and you've got to pull and pull and pull and fight and fight and fight to get to the top. And instead of just saying, I'm just gonna get in the boat and go downstream. Current strong's going to take me wherever it takes me. The unknown is where all the possibilities are anyway. And it is a challenge for us because we've been so manipulated and controlled for so very long that we've created a ceiling and four walls. And we believe that we can only go to the ceiling, and that's it. And to the four walls, that's our limit. When the opposite is true. The only reason the ceiling and the walls are there is because you believe that's all there is. It's the only reason they're there. And many of us stay in that box. We stay there. We live there, exist there. We experience there. We don't even know there's a sky. We don't know there's an outdoors because we're in that box. And then we get to the point where we start fearing to go outside the box. People say, what are you doing? You can't go outside the box. Don't go through that door. Why not? There's nothing there. This is all there is. It's here. It's safe here. We stay here. We stay in the box. And a lot of people are that way. Every now and then, one of us will open the door. And we'll look up and go, holy cow. Look at that blue sky. It's just endless. Look at this great expanse and all of this area. That's when we start waking up. We leave the box. Not that it's, it is a little scary for some. It's an unknown. But we leave the box. We don't come back to it either. We leave the box. That's what the awakening's about. Then we begin to learn that the reason we left the box is because we just had this really strong feeling in our heart mind that there was so much more outside the box. And then when we do step outside that door, it blows us away. And then you get to the point where you realize that you, who have been told that you're minuscule, insignificant, powerless, weak, you realize it's the opposite. Everything you've been told is the opposite. Then you begin to discover that you're super powerful. Omnipotently, supremely powerful. That you can manifest and do anything you choose, whenever you choose. See, this is the progression of our civilization. Do you really believe that that body you're in is never going to evolve? Do you really believe that everything is going to stay the same? Some of us understand that we'll get new models. Okay. As our consciousness expands and connects with the physical to understand who and what we are, we start to realize that, well, I'm not going to carry, I won't be a carbon-based. This body that I get into won't be carbon-based. It'll be crystalline-based. It doesn't, and some people believe that means you'll walk around like a big giant geode, right? Big crystal. But no, I mean, do we look like we're carbon fiber and stuff? No. But we'll experience this. It's an inevitability. And the adventure just gets more enriching, more wonderful, more spectacular, more advancing, more discovery, more happiness and bliss and joy. just for a moment, take a snapshot of what you view this new earth will unveil, not only to you, but to all of us. And you can feel the enthusiasm in your heart mind. You can feel that warm glow. You don't need to be spitting out things from an encyclopedia or dictionary. You just feel it. You know it. You know it to be true. And you feel it every moment. When you go there in the heart mind, you feel this transition. You feel exuberation. You feel excitement. You don't think it, you feel it. And you're not in a hurry. You're not in a rush. You know emphatically that's where we're going. It's not a figment. That's where we're heading. That's where we're going. We transition from low vibrational frequency to very high vibrational frequency. Not all of us are consciously aware that we're doing that. But we're doing it. More and more of us are doing it. And as we do and embrace it, not short time, not temporarily, but longer and longer periods of time, then everything around us will change vastly. The world, the old earth that we played in for a long time, and the new earth that we have stepped into, there's no, you cannot compare. You can compare, but it would be a stark comparison to understand the huge difference between old earth and new earth. Huge difference. And this is why we focus on the now, because things are changing so rapidly around us, right? At just breakneck speed. And see, some of us who get caught in that, become overwhelmed. And then fear, stress, anxiety, worry kick in. And then we ask ourselves questions. By me being in the now, is that my true peace? Because the majority, I'd say just about all of us are looking for peace, happiness, joy, bliss. And we do things through the ego mind that we keep thinking, that's going to bring the bliss in, or that's going to be the happiness. And, we take a little sip and it is there, we have it. But it's just so small. It's just like a brief moment. It's like we have like this plug, right? And we pull the plug out, and we're looking at two outlets, one on the right, one on the left. Now, we know that the one on the left takes us into yesterday and tomorrow. We know that. We don't have any doubt about it. Okay? The one on the right takes us into the now. Now, we're not sure what the now is. We kind of have an idea, but we're not too clear on it. We know that we're seduced by yesterday and tomorrow, and that's where most people live, yesterday and tomorrow. And that's why we suffer so much and worry so much and stress so much and fear so much, because we're constantly in yesterday and tomorrow, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The past, we redo the past into the future, because we compare the past to the future. And so we go to the past, so the past helps us build another future, which is directly connected to the past, and the things we have experienced in the past. So we're constantly connecting to the past in order to move into the future and experience the future. It's crazy. So that's what it comes down to, as a choice for all of us. Where are we going to plug in? Now, we have, for so long, so many lifetimes, we have been pursuing yesterday and tomorrow through the ego mind. All of us have. None of us are exempt from that. We've pursued yesterday and tomorrow outside of ourselves. Everything's outside of ourselves in yesterday and tomorrow. And, relationships, interactions, sceneries, and nature, everything is outside of ourselves in the yesterday and tomorrow. Expectations, attachments. So then we've done that a lot, haven't we? We've all done that so long, just being yesterday and tomorrow, yesterday and tomorrow. Now, a lot of us have discovered that's the ego mind. Now, we know the ego mind isn't our enemy. We know the ego mind is there specifically for us to overcome it through certain steps of understanding. So it actually helps us in the beginning. But then if we allow it to master us forever, it's not a joyride. Now, we also see the unknown is, for a lot of us, is the now. That's the unknown. And see, a lot of people in the unknown say, I got to have something to go on to step through that unknown door, to put that plug in the wall. The unknown hasn't been discovered yet. The yesterday and tomorrow has been discovered. We know what that brings us. That's why so many are so reluctant to not put the plug in on the right side of the now. But once you start practicing it, once you decide in your own way to start practicing being in the now, you can do it anywhere. It doesn't cost you anything. It's your power. It's what you can do. And by listening to your breath, that moves you into the now. Listen to the breath. Now, see, a lot of the times the ego mind will pull you off track. You'll wander off in these thoughts and grab onto those clouds, and you won't be in the now. Okay? But the key, 50% of the journey of the now is knowing what the now is and experiencing the now. And everything's connected to it. In these lives, in all the lives that we've all inhabited, we worry, stress, and fear. Have you ever had a time, right, where a long period of time you had no worries? Or when you took care of one, it was almost immediate another one would take its place? The number one complaint from those that leave the body and they're in transition is that they can't believe how much time they were in the body, right? And also where their attention was spent on worry, stress, and fear. Or I wish I would have spent more time with my children, but I was climbing the ladder and I wanted to get as much money as possible to provide for my family. And in the meantime, the children don't get the love they need, and all that stuff happens. These are all key areas for us as the gods we are in this body and self-discovery and who and what we are. If all the children on this planet received the love that they require, they're a whole different planet, generation after generation. Unfortunately, the majority of children on this planet do not receive the love that they need. And these are all discoveries we make. They aren't fallacies. They aren't mistakes. They're experiences. And so we learn from those experiences. And isn't it interesting? The highest energy and the highest frequency is love. And it's what the gods that we are made of. That energy is so powerful and so high. Yet when we enter these physical forms with no memory, right? We do this circle jerk. We enter the body and we don't know what the now is. We don't know what the ego mind is. We don't know any of that stuff until we're in the body longer, and then we start being controlled by the ego mind and other people's thoughts, and then we start developing our characters and personalities and our names and everything. And that's all temporary. The difference is that you say, I'm in this body, and I watch a lot of things. I don't judge. I'm watching things and watching life. So I've gotten myself to the understanding where I'm no longer in the rat race. I watch it, but I'm not in it. I'm not running and hurrying and stressing and fearing and, moving at breakneck speed to get from point A to point B, and I've got to do this and I've got to do that, and this has got to be done and that's got to be done, and it never ends. And then we leave the body. But the shift here, the change with New Earth is we will spend a lot more time within. This is our place, our home. This is where we're at peace, stress-free, worry-free. We don't have anger. We're not agitated. But that's the key. That's the nucleus. That's the primer for each of us to make that one decision to go within and stay within. And some people, I think, take it literally. What do you mean go within? I'm going to crawl inside myself? No, it's turning your attention inward where the God resides that you truly are. Not turning your attention outward and ignoring the God that you are within the body, which most have done. So your spiritual enrichment has been put on the back burner while you're so enamored with out there. Just being in these bodies is absolutely spectacular. Being in them, as the gods we are, being in these bodies and having the opportunity to experience these bodies, taste and touch and feel, excitement and laughter and crying and pain and sorrow and anguish and deprivation and all of these things, because they're fleeting. It's so short. Some people think 500 years is a long time. But when you live that 500 years in that body, it isn't that long. It's an attitude. It's a perspective that we take on with the outside world in yesterday and tomorrow compared to in the now, within. It's not easy for most to focus on the now, moment to moment. Because the ego mind's hurrying them all the time and pushing them and poking them and prodding them. Yesterday, tomorrow, yesterday, tomorrow, yesterday, tomorrow. Tomorrow, yesterday, tomorrow, yesterday. And this is where we get agitated, stressed, frustrated, fearful, worried. And what do you think would happen? Ask yourself this. What would happen in the event that all of the things that I worry about, like money, shelter, clothing and food, transportation, health, not necessarily in those orders. And what if all of that was removed? You didn't have those worries anymore. But if you were still in the ego mind, what do you think would happen? Somehow, more worries would come in. Isn't that amazing? Because what do most of us worry about? I just said it. We worry about money. We worry about providing for ourselves, right? We worry about our health. We worry about others. And we're in this constant worry mode. See, we get so conditioned, we don't even know it anymore. We don't know we're in a constant worry mode in yesterday and tomorrow. And then we begin to discover, why would I continually be in this place of ego mind yesterday and tomorrow? Suffering, worrying, stressing, fearing. Why wouldn't I choose the now, where there is no suffering, no worrying, no stressing, no fearing, no anxiety, no stress? Because we're in the habit, in an unnatural state of being in yesterday and tomorrow. It's like anything. When you're doing something that's out of your sphere, right? It doesn't feel comfortable at first. You almost have to push yourself to apply yourself to it because it seems so foreign. You ever done that? It seems really foreign. And the ego mind says, no, you don't need to go there, And you say, oh, I don't feel right about this. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right, right? And that's when you should jump into it. Because the comfort zone's there. And that's not our comfort zone. But as we do it, and as we practice it, it becomes more and more familiar, and we all start seeing the change between worry, stress, or fear, and peace, joy, and bliss. You'll stay in more gratitude, I guarantee you, by being in the now. You'll automatically, being in the now, you'll automatically gravitate to the now. Because you'll experience bliss, joy, and peace. Guaranteed. Now, obviously, if you only do it for 2 seconds, you're not. But every time the ego mind takes you out of it, you just focus on the breath and listen to the breath. You'll be right back into it. See, there's going to be, and it's already been fully engaged on this planet. As humanity transitions into New Earth, call it fifth density, fifth dimension, and all that is a frequency. See, you create the place through the frequency. You intend and manifest what you have been wanting to experience and the type of life that you want to enjoy and experience. And that transition is in full swing. And then you get this feeling when you reach it. You go, this feels really right. It feels like it's just completely natural for me. And we all know that you could leave the internet alone for a month, right? Not look at it, not go there, not do anything. Come back, and everything will be no different than it was a month ago. But our curiosity, okay, our push for the ego mind, our curiosity to want to know what's transpiring. And the only thing that's going to change anything is us transpiring and going within and staying in the now. Because what do you think that does to all those around you? It affects them, and in a very good way. That's how we change the civilization in a much brighter, higher frequency and direction by starting with you. Nobody else, you. Your decision to go within, stay within. Practice being within, practice being in the now. Every chance you can get. It's not that hard, is it? Listen to the breath. You'll be in the now. You see, ego mind's there, right? Because we know that. We know that. And ego mind comes in and says, no, you got to get this done, this done, this done, this done, this done. You got to project this and do this and plan this and get this done and get this and get this done. All that sitting out there outside the window, waving at you, trying to get you to come out. And you're just basking in the moment, the very moment you're in. Because you begin to realize is that you're the power that attracts. There isn't a power out there that attracts. You're the power. You're the universe. When you put something out to the universe, when you're in the now, you put it out there, you're very clear on it. You're very confident. You trust yourself. You have faith in yourself and the universe, 100% across the board. And then you put it, and it starts to form, and you know it, and you leave it alone. And you don't worry about when, where, how. Time, the time, and when is it going to happen? When's this and when's it me for, so on and so forth. And the universe sends opportunities and different things for you, tailored to you. Right? And so this starts coming, and these things appear that never appeared before. And you say, look at that. I'm going to take a look at that. Or look at this. And most of the things, because it's a constant flow of abundance, undulating waves, but we don't recognize the gifts that the universe puts in front of us, so they pass by. Most of them just pass us by. We don't correlate or connect with it. We just kind of ignore it. Zoom, bye-bye. But see, when we're more focused on the now, we'll understand what those things are and what they mean. And they'll take you. It's usually when you decide to do something out of the ordinary, and usually that comes in with the now. You normally maybe never would have done that, whatever it may be. But in the now, you see, no, I'm gonna step into that, moment to moment. So during the quiet time of this meditation, ask yourself, what plug are you going to enter? Right? One on the left, which is yesterday and tomorrow with the ego mind, or the one on the right, the now, to discover the God that you are in that body. And you start experiencing bliss and joy and freedom and not stress. Stress, worry, fear comes from yesterday and tomorrow. Peace, joy, bliss, tranquility comes from the now. Take your pick. And then embrace it and flow with it. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. An easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Be still. The experience of bliss is happening to someone, somewhere right now. This very moment on this planet. Meditate, focus, and tune into those beings who are already there. Imagine what they are doing, how they are being in the world today. Let their experiences of bliss seep into your mind and your life. Write in your manifesting journal description, sensations, and experiences. The experience of bliss is happening to someone, somewhere, right now, this very moment, on this planet. Meditate, focus, tune into those beings who are already there. Imagine that they are doing what they are doing, how they are being in the world today. Let their experiences of bliss seep into your mind and your life. Write it in your manifesting journal, descriptive sensations and experiences. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here Monday, November 28th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation